Hello there and welcome to Tom's Warhammer Minis. Today is an extra special guide. The Tantalus is a prestigious twin-hulled Drukhari assault skimmer, perfectly crafted for high-speed terror raids, the signature armaments being a set of graceful scythe veins that extend from the vehicle's hull, designed to slice and sever any foes caught in the skimmer's sweeping flight path. In this guide, I'll explain how to hand paint this classic Forgeworld model in the Kabal the Poison Tongue scheme using contrast paints. And yes, you can absolutely do this in contrast and have an heavy metal finish too. The bonus being in this guide with precision, as you'll have seen in my other guides for the Drukhari, apart from the limited amount of metallics that are on this model, there are zero edge highlights. Not a single highlight on the blue or the red has been painted or even dry brushed, and it's done in only contrast paints. It truly is, just like my Reaver Titan, the only one in existence of its kind. And at this stage, yes, it is characterless. Now, I will personally be adding Lady Malice and a squad of Kabalites, but the beauty of this, if you wanted to do that too, the matching tutorials are already on my channel. So, grab your paints, grab your brushes, let's get hobbying. And we're beginning with the Forgeworld model, the Tantalus. Now, at this point, the model is no longer available to buy. Maybe you're watching this video in the future and there's a plastic version, because there absolutely should be. GW, you've got no excuse. Not the way you make models these days. It is a fantastic model. If you've got one and you've yet to build it, obviously it needs washing before assembling, and you're going to need to use a lot of super glue and stuff. Now, to begin with, just to note, I had a lot of trouble. I built this a long time ago before I became really good at the hobby. That long big bit in the middle is green stuff. It's holding it together. The way they gave it was a small flight stand. It snapped. It's no good. So I made sure it was completely secure and really attached to the base so it can't break apart. Now, with that out of the way, the model is fully primed in white scar. It's going to be contrast painted, and as you can see to begin with, it is rather messy and sloppy. Now, if you've seen my Ravager tutorial, you know exactly how I'm painting this. It's the Kabal of the Poison Tongue, and it begins in this sloppy state. It's meant to be. The colour I'm using is Frost Heart. We're taking 1 part of Frost Heart to roughly 3 parts of Lamy Medium, and I've made a huge pool of this because there is a lot to do here. This is every single surface, so what you see on this side is mirrored on the other side. Obviously the under part we're going to do in metallics, but we're just base coating this on. The Lamy Medium helps the flow. In a sense, you can see these areas where it's quite neat. There are occasional areas like here, where I was nearing the end of the mix, it's got a bit messier. It doesn't matter, because the way we're going to do this is create an edge highlight colour. We're going to darken it down later. We just need this as our underlayer all over the armour. Where we need to be careful is the actual cell. We don't want to catch that because that's going to be in bright red. And our next step is going to look a little bit blotchy and a little bit messy too. But once again, we're trusting the process, because it's the next stage after this where it's all going to tie together really nicely. So, focusing on the blue, yes, it looks blotchy and messy. We are going to go classic with my colour scheme. We're taking Assaman Blue. We're making a 2-to-1 mix, so roughly 2 parts Lamy Medium, 1 part Assaman Blue, and painting this over all of the blue details. It will get blotchy, as I keep mentioning. This is our undertone colour. We're just building up that blue. In the next stage, it will all make sense. And if you've seen my other tutorials, you know exactly what I'm doing. It's going to be the same for the orange. We've got a large flat area here. But we're going to thin the orange down a little bit more than I normally would. So we're going to take Gryph-hound Orange, which is quite strong. We're going to take it to roughly 3 parts to 4 parts Lamy Medium. And we're just literally wanting this as a base coat to just go straight over all those flat areas. Again, it's blotchy, it's messy. One important thing to note is when you're doing contrast painting, especially in the blue areas, you might end up flicking a bit of blue onto the thing. That's okay. What we want to do, get the orange on first, and should you have any little spots of paint that's quite heavy, take Luganaf Orange and just put a little dot of it over it, and it just blends it into that orange we've just created. Nice and simple. This is what we're looking for. It looks a complete mess, but it'll all make sense in the next step. Next up, we're turning that blue armour into the pure Kabal of the Poison Heart. And as you can see, where I told you it wasn't anything to worry about it being messy in the earlier stages, this is why. It gets fixed in this stage. So let's talk colours. It's nice and simple, especially if you see my previous tutorials. We're going to take 4 parts of the Viodon blue. That's going to be our darkness. We're going to mix it with 1 part of Stormfiend. And that's going to be our richness. And 1 part of Lamy medium, and that's just going to help with the power, the flow and the control of the paint as we apply it. Now it's going to take a long time. What we're doing, we're painting it onto the surfaces up to the edges, not including the edges. It leaves that automatic highlight, that previous blue, in place. It means there is 0 highlighting, 0 dry brushing that needs to be done. Now I've used a small layer size brush for this. There's a lot of areas, certainly like these areas here, these little groove areas where you're going round. You want that control of a small airbrush. You can reach every single area that we've done thus far. It just takes time. We're looking, for me, the way I did it, and I took my time, and obviously I've got breaks in between. You don't want to do it in one go, but you're looking roughly around 5 to 7 hours just to slowly take your time, get this done, and make it look marvellous. Moving on, we're going to go to the red details, and we're going to take Baal Red. Once again, painting it on the surface, up to the edges, not including the edges, it leaves that highlight in place. Now I have thinned this down ever so slightly, but I want the Baal Red as the colour. So in a large mix, because we're going to use a lot of paint, I've taken 4 parts of Baal Red, 1 part of Lamy medium. It doesn't thin it down, it just gives you a little bit of control so that you get this smooth dry finish, as you can see across the thing. It means we don't need to re-layer it with any layer paints. It's just perfect as it is. Get that done and we'll move on to the next stage. Next up, we're going to finish off that blue, and the mix that I like to use here, or should I say the shade, is Tyrant Blue. Now this is going to be an enhancer. It's not going to alter the blue like that, but it's just going to make it more saturated, more depth. It just really enhances and gives it that nice smooth finish. Now we are covering a large surface area. What I've done is I've used a little bit of Lamy medium, obviously creating a big mix because there's a lot to apply. We're talking roughly 4 parts of Tyrant Blue, 1 part of Lamy medium. Essentially what that mix is going to do is allow us to have the pure colour of Tyrant Blue. So it's not going to be thinned, but the 1 part of Lamy medium just gives us that smooth control and finish as we apply it all over. Just checking it doesn't pull heavily in areas, and just making sure you've got an even layer as you go across all of those blue details. It is nice and simple. Next, we're going to take Black Templar. Now this is going to be a bit of an odd one. What we're going to do, if you see the actual main sort of decking on the floor, you can see where I've applied it. We're literally getting a very small, very old battered brush that has no other purpose than it's already ruined. We're going to ruin it a bit more. Essentially, we're jamming the Black Templar into the grill just to get the area underneath. Now you can absolutely reach the areas that I've done there. Obviously we don't have to worry about this bit because we can see the decking under there and we can get a paintbrush to paint the decking. But the decking that's on the bottom, that's under this bit, we're not going to worry about. We're going to be putting characters there. You're not going to ever be able to see it because if you position the characters right, it's not going to be an issue. Moving on from that, we're going underneath the Tantalus and we're doing it completely in silver. And just to show you as I turn it around, it's completely metallic underneath. The colour I'm using here as a base coat is Iron Warriors. Nice and simple, just apply it on, but you'll need a small layer brush as you get into all those grooves. Now I have had to apply 2 coats into the recess areas. It's not because I haven't cleaned it properly, being a Forgeworld model. It's just it's hard to clean in between those areas. And there's a couple of bits that were missed, but just adding a bit more just covers it entirely. Once it's completely dry, we're going to shade it. And that's going to be Nuln Oil, nice and simple. Once it's completely dry, we're going to dry brush Stormhost Silver all over it just to give it that nice shine. And that finishes off all the silver details underneath. Now we're going to take advantage, in a sense we can do the base at the same time and have a little break. What I've done here is it's classic to the Drukhari that I've been painting, starting with Doomfire Magenta, just all over, nice and simple, let it dry. I've then taken Ard Coat, applied that all over the Doomfire Magenta, and this is going to help the crackle paint adhere to the base. Once that's done, the crackle paint I've used is a Grelin Earth. Nice and simple. The thicker you apply it, the greater and bigger the cracks. Obviously the thinner, smaller areas, and you apply a little, you get smaller cracks. It's nice and simple. What I would then recommend doing is using a matte varnish, and I use Storm Shield. Just keeps it from chipping off, and I did a cheeky dry brush of Pallid Witch Flesh all over it, and then we can move on to the next stage. Next up, we're going to finish off all of our remaining details, and this is going to be pure bronze and gold. It's all going to be one set of paint scheme. It's really classic. If you see my other tutorials, you know what it's going to be. So to begin with, the base coat colour is going to be Brass Scorpion. Yes, it's a layer paint. You may need 2 thin coats over it. This is going to be for all of the decking. I've done the spikes because that warm gold stands against the blue. Again, we're thinking colour theory here. And then you've got these 2 front weapons here. I want them to really stand out. And I've also done the decking controls on the little pad there. Now once it's completely dry, I have taken Reikland Fleshshade Gloss. Now this is a personal choice. I like the kind of gloss effect and shine. If you want the shine and you haven't got that paint, you just be classic Reikland Fleshshade and then put a gloss varnish over it. Or if you don't want it glossy, just go pure Reikland Fleshshade. It's your model, it's down to you. So nice and simply, paint that over all the Brass Scorpion. What I have done here, because it's an older paint, it is a bit thicker, it did pull slightly. You can just do a very subtle relayer with the Brass Scorpion. Once it's all dry, I've taken a small dry brush and used Canoptic alloy just to catch all those little details, finishing them off. Nice and simple. Now at this stage, the model is practically done. Obviously I want to finish off the rim of the base, add stuff to the actual base, and then obviously there's the transfers to apply to the actual main sail part here. And if you want help with that kind of stuff, check out my Instagram. There's a whole post on all the Drukhari transfers. I'm going to use a mixed match of the Kabal, the Poison Tongue, but also some of the generic ones just to really decorate it, as well as going around the sides. Now with the panels, if you're applying on them, nice and simple. I'm going to do Ard Coat, give it a nice smooth, surface, put the transfer on, Storm Shield, matte varnish over the top. Same for the sails, just a little area, though with this one I wouldn't be doing the entire area, just a little bit around the area, just to apply the transfer on and seal it in place. We'll show you in the next step. And there we have it, transfers applied, basing done, our Tantalus is complete, and what a beautiful model it is. At this stage, having seen so many of the modern models, having built and painted them myself, especially the Grand Cafe range, when you look at the sail and the structure of this, you understand why back in the past, this is a Forgeworld model, but there is no excuse now. This could be so easily made in plastic. I really want one. And it's one of those dual kits they could easily do. You could have this as the bog standard Tantalus, the other one being a name character as in Vect. It would just be beautiful, it'd be phenomenal, and guess what? You can paint it in a day. This is the insanity of it. Roughly, the amount of time that I've put in this, and I say a day, it'd be a pretty long day, we're talking around 17 hours. Obviously that's not including the drying time of the base. This is all the time applying the texture, applying all those paints. 17 hours, that's pretty good going. 0 armor highlights, apart from a cheeky bit of dry brushing on the metallics, but 0 armor highlights on all those other colours. And yeah, it's an heavy metal finish. It is brilliant. I love this model. I hope you guys like it too. Be sure to like, share so others can see. The Kabal, the Poison Tongue is such an awesome theme. And subscribe, because that means A, you get to see what comes next, and B, it supports my channel. And supporting me means I get to continue supporting you, the awesome Warhammer community. So, until next time, do look after yourselves, and happy hobbying.